You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Today, Kristen Welker, of course, MSNBC, she had a question for Donald Trump that he still is yet to actually answer, and he blew it off. So here's what she asked.
So much, Mr. President. Dr. Fauci said earlier this week that the lag in testing was, in fact, a failing. Do you take responsibility for that? And when can you guarantee that every single American who needs a test will be able to have a test? What's the date of that?
Yeah, no, I don't take responsibility at all because we were given a set of circumstances and we were given rules, regulations, and specifications from a different time. Wasn't meant for this kind of an event with the kind of numbers that we're talking about. And what we've done is redesigned it very quickly with the help of the people behind me. And we're now in very, very strong shape. I think we'll be announcing, as I said, Sunday night. And this will start very quickly. And we'll have the ability to do in the millions over a very, very quick period of time. So no, and what we have done, and we are going to be leaving a very indelible print for the future in case something like this happens again. But it was and that's not the fault of anybody, and frankly, the old system worked very well for smaller numbers, much smaller numbers, but not for these kind of numbers. Tony, maybe you'd like to say something?
Will you have,
Tony,
yes, please, by Sunday night, will every American be able to get a test?
So just to reiterate what I said to many of you multiple times, it's a dissonance of a system. The system was not designed for what it was designed for. It worked very well. The CDC designed a good system. If you want to get the kind of blanket testing and availability that anybody can get it, or you could even do surveillance to find out what the penetrance is, you have to embrace the private sector. And this is exactly what you're seeing, because you can't do it without it. So when I said that, I meant the system was not designed for what we need. Now, looking forward, the system will take care of it.
Mr. President,
and
with respect,
interestingly, if you go back, please, if you go back to the swine flu, it was nothing like this. They didn't do testing like this, and actually they lost approximately 14,000 people, and they didn't do the testing. They started thinking about testing when it was far too late. What we've done, and one of the reasons I think people are respecting what we've done it very early. We've gotten it very early, and we've also kept a lot of people out.
Mr. President,
yes,
the
please,
last administration
please.
said that they had tested 1 million people at this point. You've been
Well, ask them
president
how
for
they did with the
3
swine
years.
flu. It was a disaster.
But with respect, you've been
Next,
president
please.
for 3 years,
Next,
and
please.
Wuhan was suffering.
They had a very big failure with swine flu, a very big failure.
President, I want to ask you about the Europe.
All right, folks, let's go to our panel. To my left, Brittany Lee Lewis. She's a political commentator. Also joining us is Dr. Julianne Malveaux, economist president, Emerita Bennett College, and Dr. Wilma Leon, host Inside the Issues on Sirius XM Radio. All right, folks, here's what's interesting. So Trump talked about, when he was sitting here going on, we've done this, we've done that. So Valerie Jarrett, of course, senior advisor to President Barack Obama, sent this tweet out responding to his tweet. Here we go to my iPad. It said, if the Barack Obama administration made testing harder, how do we manage to test 1 million people within the first month of the H1N1 outbreak? Why did you dismantle the White House office Barack Obama created in NSC post-Ebola? Why did you cut funding to CDC? I mean, Brittany, those are critical issues that are important. And what you see Donald Trump trying to, again, Obama. Everything is like with these old testing. It wasn't like, well, okay, we came in, had to change everything all around, when he's lying.
He is lying. And I mean, this is Donald Trump's thing, right? He's a celebrity at the end of the day. He's not a politician. He's not a professor. He's not someone that even essentially believes in science. So I don't know how we can expect him to handle this crisis and take it seriously. I mean, the second that he put his VP in charge of everything, I said, okay, we're doomed, essentially. And then even with some of the reporters that were asking him questions today, it was very clear that he's avoiding all types of responsibility.
Wilma, as I sat here and listened to that news conference, you're sitting here going, dude, can you just read what's in front of you? Can you just not ad lib? did was start making shit up, which is what he was sitting here doing. And then you can always tell, oh, this is great, this is wonderful, this is big, it's the best. And then at one point he was like, America, we're ranked #1. I'm going, dude, this is not March Madness. This is not like a seeding where we have 4 #1 seeds. And see, and that's the deal. He wants to. What he does is, and this is what people need to understand. For 8 years, all the right did was attack Obama. Weak. America's bending down to everyone else. Weak. So his answer to everything is strength, strong. That's what he does, and that's all they hear. See, America, we're strong again. That's all that was.
Well, that goes back, I think it was Bill Clinton said it's better to be wrong and strong than weak and right. I think that was Bill Clinton that said that. In looking at the Wednesday night press conference and in looking at this foolishness, first of all, we got more disinformation and wrong information than we got actual information. And to Brittany's point, when you look at who Donald Trump has put in charge of managing this, I counted, I think we have at least 5 still living Surgeon Generals. They all should have been standing there behind the president with the current Surgeon General leading the pack, not Mike Pence, who, to Brittany's point, when he was the governor of Indiana,
right.
We know what happened with the HIV rate in Indiana when he was there, went up through the roof because he doesn't believe in science.
But Julian, if you're going to if you're going to stand there and call for a national emergency, actually, I don't want to see CEOs or even scientists behind you. You know who I want to actually see behind you? Congressional leadership. I want to see Senate and House leaders. That's where a president leads. A president says, look, this is a national emergency. I want the leadership of this country. Now, you have your experts there. You have your CEOs there. You can bring them up to say, hey, this is what private and public companies are doing. This is what you can do all of that. No, but that's what you do. If you want to send the signal that we're all in this together, well, then what you don't do is you don't stand there and trash Democrats in the House like he did by saying, well, it's some stuff that they agreed to, but they didn't have. Something they've agreed to, but they haven't agreed to. He was making that up as well, and that's the fundamental problem. And I dare say, if you're Nancy Pelosi, the reason I'm not going to stand there with you because I know you're going to lie.
Well, Roland, both Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders showed us what presidential leadership was. Both of them gave really great speeches that really laid out, this is what I would do, this is a template. Biden even generously said, and you can borrow it if you want to. But we know that we've known about this coronavirus since November, December. They have chosen to ignore it. This man, not only does he lie, I mean, that's the nicest thing that we can say about him is that he lies like a rug, like a rat, all that. But what we really need to say is that he's taken the people on a trip. And it's a contrast between what Biden and Bernie have said and what he says. Now, Fauci, the Dr. Fauci, CDC, he's been really quite blunt. He toned it down a little bit today, but this was a failure. It was simply a failure. And still we have not been able to catch. How does Korea catch people drive-by testing while we can't do general testing? So we really have a situation where, I'm so worried as an educator. Graduations are being canceled, weddings and funerals.
First of all, all of that. First of all, in Texas, they're limited to size, 250 people, can't more than 250 people. And so now you have church services. I was watching just Wednesday night, Pastor Jenkins at First Baptist Glen Arden. I mean, look, they routinely have more than 2,000 people sitting there. They've canceled all of their events. And so what people need to understand, this has gone beyond sporting events and large gatherings. When you start saying you're canceling events of 250 people, you now even have, look, I'm on the board of NABJ. We had a regional conference coming up that was going to have 110 people. We had to cancel that. And we were actually going to allow it to move forward. But then other people kind of like, yo, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? So the pressure was there. So we had to postpone that as well. So what's now about to happen is you're not even going to have gatherings of 50 and 60 people. You're about to have an entire nation, again, for the next 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, that is essentially will be self-quarantining themselves because everything is getting canceled. You're not having conferences. Folks are not going to be going to church. They're not going to be going to meetings. Everything, if there's a situation where you got more than, frankly, 5 folks gathered, they ain't getting together out of fear of somebody sneezing or coughing or touching them.
Yep. It's scary. And, you know, I think I fear most for the poor and working class people in this country at the end of the day, because you're thinking about people that live off of tipped wages. You're talking about those in, you know, DJs. You're talking about people who are, you know, cleaners who may not have the money to support themselves moving forward. And it's scary to me in which they're saying, well, the system isn't built to handle something like this. And they're really looking at the private sector. And it's very scary when we need to almost depend on the private sector to determine what the livelihood of these individuals is going to be moving forward.
Well, you know,
But the opportunity is here, though, for us to have direct. You heard what General Honore said. He said it is not that hard. Where you have, if FEMA is set up where they can simply go online or make a call, and then in 24 hours, $1,500 is in your account or is being mailed to you. And so we're seeing the Federal Reserve find $1.5 trillion when it comes to propping up these companies. Trump has floated out this payroll tax cut, all these different things. No, this is where you have to have direct infusion to people who are being impacted by this.
But what you
Roland,
have,
you know,
Julian, go ahead.
what is going on here is that there's so many people in the gig economy. You're an Uber driver. Nobody is taking Ubers. And so you don't have any money. You can't show through payroll tax, et cetera, that you're missing money. So this is an elitist look at how we're going to deal with this. When the Fed says we're going to throw $1.5 billion in there, that's putting money into the system that's going to affect the top. And the question is, what's going to affect the bottom? And then we look at the sisters and brothers who are single moms and dads who you close a school, but they have a job. How does that work out? And there's no conversation about that. You look at the young people who are getting two meals a day from school. Now the schools are closed. How are we going to deal with that? There has been no creativity. I applaud Nancy Pelosi, my homegirl, San Francisco, but I applaud her, but at the same time, I'm struck by the way that this coronavirus lets us know so much more about the cracks in our foundation and the flaws in our infrastructure.
But Wilmer, here's a piece here, and I think that what we have to recognize is that when you hear Trump try to say, well, all this stuff beforehand, here's the reality. We've never had this type of thing beforehand. In the sense that you've never had something where, first of all, you were late with testing, so you frankly don't know. I mean, the most basic thing, then of course you heard the doctor sit up there, which, you know, I don't want to sit here and really put her on blast, but for her to stand here and talk about HIV/AIDS and what happened there and how, oh, it took 4 years for us to do this, 11 years of treatment. Okay, why is that also? Because the President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, wouldn't even use the word. He wouldn't even use the phrase. And so I'm sitting there watching it going, hello, there's a reason why you were slow to do that, because same thing. You had individuals who had an ideological issue with gay people, who did not want to confront was a health crisis, did not contain it to bathhouses or whatever you want to do that was happening in San Francisco, and allowed that to turn into, yes, an international pandemic because of the games you're playing. And we see the exact same thing happening here with an administration who put their head in the sand, who did not want to know what the numbers were because, oh no, I don't want this to affect my re-election. And so people are going to die because you are more concerned about your re-election. Absolutely.
General Honore is concerned about the American people. He always has been. His performance during Katrina proved that. What we see here is a president and an administration that is concerned about the elite. The payroll tax cut, that won't do anything for the average worker. And we have an economist here who can vouch for this. The tax cut is going to help business. It's a tax cut for businesses. It is not going to put any money in the pockets of the American worker. And also the Obama administration tried the same thing, and it didn't work under President Obama. So what we see here time and time again, it's not an accident that private sector companies are standing behind the president and really Congress is not there, because this is an opportunity for them to get contracts. This is an opportunity for them eventually to make a whole lot of money. This is Nero fiddling while Rome burned, even though fiddles weren't invented when Nero
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were.
That was the loot. But anyway, this is a horrific display of what a president who focuses primarily on benefiting the elite. This is what happens. This is becoming a class issue.
Yep.
As average American citizens are going to find themselves, to your point, not getting their tips, not being able to go to work, not being able to afford their health care.
Having to pay more for child care. I mean, I'm really concerned about the child piece of it.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, so a lot of y'all are always asking me about some of the pocket squares that I wear. Now, Robert don't have one on. Nope. Now, I don't particularly like the white pocket squares. I don't like even the silk ones. And so I was reading GQ magazine a number of years ago, and I saw this guy who had this pocket square here, and it looks like a flower. This is called a shibori pocket square. This is how the Japanese manipulate the fabric to create this sort of flower effect. So I'm going to take it out and then place it in my hand so you see what it looks like. And I said, man, this is pretty cool. And so I tracked down, it took me a year to find a company that did it. And so they make these about 47 different colors. And so I love them because, again, as men, we don't have many accessories to wear, so we don't have many options. And so this is really a pretty cool pocket square. Now, what I love about this here is you saw when it's in the pocket, you know, it gives you that flower effect like that. But if I wanted to also, unlike because if I flip it and turn it over, it actually gives me a different type of texture. And so therefore it gives me a different look. So there you go. So if you actually want to get one of these shibori pocket squares, we have them in 47 different colors. All you got to do is go to rolandsmartin.com/pocket squares. All right, so first of all, that graphic is way too small. So tomorrow we're going to run it right down here all across the screen. So it's rolandsmartin.com/pocket squares. All you got to do is go to my website and you can actually get this. Now, for those of you who are members of our Bring the Funk fan club, there's a discount for you to get our pocket squares. That's why you also got to be a part of our Bring the Funk fan club. And so that's what we want you to do. And so it's pretty cool. So if you want to jazz your look up, you can do that. In addition, y'all see me with some of the feather pocket squares. My sister, who's a designer, she actually makes these. They're all custom made. So when you also go to the website, you can also order one of the customized feather pocket squares right there at rolandsmartin.com/pocket squares. So please do so. And of course, that goes to support the show. And again, if you're a Bring the Funk fan club member, you get a discount. This is why you should join the fan club. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.